Hello and welcome to another HTML and CSS tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to talk about CSS selectors and we're going to use the CSS Class Selector. So in some of the past tutorials you have been using the element selector. So we haven't talked about it that much, but you've been using the element selector. And there's three types of CSS selectors that we'll look at. There's the element selector, there's the class selector, and there's the ID selector. And when we use CSS code to apply a style to something like a paragraph or a heading element, we usually type it like this. So we'd put P and then curly braces, and then we might say something like color blue, background color red, or the font style, font size, that kind of thing. So we'd refer to the actual element, or we might say H1 and then specify color red. Okay, and then when we put a heading or a paragraph in here, it will apply that style to every single paragraph and every single heading with those tags. So it will apply that style to all of those elements that are either a paragraph element or a H1 element. So that's using the element selector. So we apply a style to all elements with that name. In this tutorial, we're going to look at the class selector. And that's where we can create a class and apply a style to any element that uses that class name. Okay, so the class selector applies a style to all of the elements that use that class. And then the other type of selector is the ID selector, and basically an ID is unique for each element. Okay, so we'll have a look at that in the next tutorial. But I'm going to delete the CSS code and we're going to use a class selector. So to start with, we'll create a paragraph and we'll say this paragraph is red. I'll close that off. Make another one. This paragraph is green. And then another one. This paragraph is blue. Okay, so we've got three paragraphs. One says it's red, one says it's green, one says it's blue, but none of them are those colors because we haven't actually applied a style to it yet. So what we can say is P class equals red, P class equals green, and P class equals blue. Okay, so we can create three different classes there that will apply the red, green, and blue colors to these paragraphs that use those classes. So if we go back to the style sheet, so in the HTML file, you'll see that we've referenced this style sheet. It's called stylesheet5.css in the resources folder, and here it is. So we can create a class. Now, before, when we use the element selector, we'd simply just put in P or we'd put in H1 or something like that. But when we use a class, we put the class name in, but we begin by putting a full stop or a period before that. So we had three classes, red, green, and blue. So the first one we'll make is red, so period and then red. And we can say color red. Then we can make another one called green and set the color to green. And then lastly, we have a class called blue. Oops, make sure you put that period there and color blue. Okay, to make it different, we could also put background color of yellow to make this one a little bit different. We'll save that, save the HTML file, and open that in the browser. And there we go. So we have a paragraph that's red, a paragraph that's green, and a paragraph that's blue, and it also has a yellow background. And that's because we've created classes that apply those styles to whichever elements are given that class name. So we could create a heading, h1 class equals, and we could use the green class again. We could say this is a green heading, and then close off that tag and refresh the page, save and refresh, and there we go, we have a green heading. So that class, the green class, can be used across different elements. It can be used across paragraphs, it can be used across different size headings, and it doesn't matter because a class can be used on more than one element. It's not just for one element. You can use it wherever you like inside your HTML file. So you could create classes that might be used for different size headings. You could create classes that are used for paragraphs, or for different types of paragraphs on your page. So maybe a paragraph that's inside a heading or a header section, or a paragraph that's inside a footer section. So that's the class selector in CSS. Just remember that inside the element, so paragraph or heading, you refer to the class name, and then your CSS, you use a period or a full stop before the class name, and then you specify all the style information there. In the next tutorial, we'll look at using the ID selector. Thanks for watching.